So you were admitted into your dream MBA program. First off, congratulations. That is a big deal, man. It will definitely change your life. It's changed my life and I wish you well. One of the worst things that happens to an MBA student is you look forward to this experience, you prepare for it, the experience comes and you can't really enjoy it because you didn't really prepare for it. Maybe you didn't have guidance or someone to tell you what you should probably be thinking about. And that's how I want to help today. My name is Tyler. I'm a first year at the Wharton School, heading into my second semester now. And I'm gonna give you some tips on what some alumni have taught me and what I've learned from some of my classmates on how to get your MBA started on the right foot. The big thing about starting your MBA program is you wanna show up fresh. Me and a lot of my classmates did not do that. I worked all summer and I had a summer internship that ended on a Sunday and class started the next Monday. So I was not fresh. So the first point, take a break. The thing about working up until your MBA experience starts is, yeah, you may earn a little more money, but you'll end up missing some of the events. I missed a lot of the pre-MBA events. I missed a lot of the Wharton events that happened the first week because I was moving into my home and trying to prepare for the academics to start, and I'll never get those times back. So you really want to take a break and give yourself time to plan your experience, meet your classmates early, and get acclimated to your new environment. And the biggest piece about planning is you really want to have a North Star. And that gets into the next point. Plan your North Star. So you really want to give yourself a buffer before school and give yourself to craft what I call your North Star. So let's talk about your North Star. You've probably heard this before, but business school is a 2-year social experiment. There are always things to do, but it can be as chaotic or as dull as you allow it to be. And the key to having control over that is knowing what you want from the experience. And the mistake that people make is they don't take time to craft their North Star. Some people are here for academics, some people are here for a break from life, and some people are really here to gun for those prestigious jobs or to start their business. All of that is okay, but you don't want to occupy a bucket or a lane that you don't intend to occupy. So be very intentional with your time ahead of time. So crafting your North Star will give you some sort of structure, some sort of guidance as you go through this simulation, as we call it. I'll share with you a few of my guiding principles that helped me craft my North Star. Before we get into that, do me a quick favor and smash that like button. It really helps me out. So, people first. People first was a big one for me. You know, your network is really your net worth, and the Wharton admission process does a great job of finding unicorns literally from everywhere in the world and putting us all in this environment to learn and grow and socialize together. So keeping people first as a North Star helps me to prioritize opportunities to make new connections and to sharpen old ones. Another principle for me was stretch, but don't strain. I absolutely want to meet new people and have new experiences, but I also know who I am, and I'm not gonna lose my values or lose myself or get caught shucking and jiving trying to diversify my bonds or any of that nonsense. I am who I am. I have things that make me comfortable, and I really want to pay attention to those things. However, there's value in stretching yourself and having new experiences, and that's what the MBA program is all about. So the point of stretch, don't strain is to remind me to follow my own convictions when it comes to new social groups or new social experiences. Another principle for me was to be where my feet are professionally. So I know my strengths regarding people and crisis management and operations, logistics, etc. And I also know my knowledge gaps from where I am now to where I want to be. And this is important because in business school, there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of them can seem shiny and it can distract you and knock you off your focus. So being where my feet are just reminds me to stay focused on my path and be secure in my path and what I know, then also make sure I'm sharpening my weaknesses and focusing just on those weaknesses. And my last principle was to build my ideal self. Take the time to focus on my mental and my physical health, build good habits, build the ideal person that I want to be when I step into the professional world after business school. And a lot of people take this time to rebrand themselves if they need to get to where they want to be. Whatever you want to do, just focus on that, build your ideal self. So now I want to talk about the big three of school, professional, and social. Now, some people will say you can't do it all, and I tend to believe them, but you can dance with all three of them and prioritize different ones depending on where you are in your experience and depending on that North Star. So again, craft your North Star, take some time to do so, and that way you can work backwards and figure out which semesters you can prioritize academics, prioritize social, or prioritize your professional experience. So for me, during my first semester, I was able to deprioritize professionally because I had already done pre-MBA recruiting and I came to Wharton with a job in my hand. So I was able to focus on my academics, focus on the core academics, and then also focus on broadening my wings and doing a bunch of social activities and not feeling guilty for it. All right, now let's talk about school. Here's my piece of advice on school. Education is more important than school. Don't let school get in the way of your education. Tell you what I mean by that. Learning is non-negotiable, but learning doesn't always have to take place in an academic setting. So be mindful about prioritizing the institution of academia over your personal, professional, and social goals. And Wharton's grade non-disclosure policy allows us to really embody this culture. Okay, social life. Here's the biggest piece of advice I got to manage my social life at Wharton. Pick 3 or 4 things that you really care about and prioritize those things over everything else. For example, for me, I really wanted to focus on golf, scotch and whiskey, and small group dinners this first semester. Now, this didn't mean that I didn't go to other club events, but if other club events conflicted with my big 3, then it was an easy way for me to say no because I want to focus on my big 3. And again, this can change at any point in your business school experience, but for me at Wharton, that's how I organized my first semester. And you'll be surprised. It'll make it really easy for you to say no to certain things. And here's a tip. You can actually apply this big 3 framework to whatever you want to do in your Wharton experience. Professionally, relationships, social life. Having a top 3 or 4 priority list will make it easier for you to say no whenever you have conflicting interests. And finally, let's talk professional. Now, there is nothing wrong with exploring career options and using the resources that the school has for you, but your best chance at having success is to narrow down your career aspirations to 1 or 2 things. That way you can hit the ground running in full stride with that career path. These jobs are incredibly tough to land, so it's essential to really knock this out during year 1 so you can have an easier second year or second semester even, and just enjoy your time in business school. And this even goes for the entrepreneurs out there. Remember, most successful entrepreneurs spent several years in some sort of corporate setting before they jumped into entrepreneurship. There's nothing wrong with working corporate and paying down your ignorance tax before you jump off the porch and do it on your own. Now, some people are different. I advocate for everybody to do what they want to do. It's just another perspective from me. So my biggest advice here is to reverse engineer your ideal life 5+ years post MBA. Scroll through LinkedIn and Google to build a Mount Rushmore of people who are living the elements of that ideal life. Study those people, call those people, trace their career paths for common denominators for industries, skill sets, companies, etc. And execute the plan. You don't have to recreate the wheel. I did this drill and landed on 2 different career paths. I focused on one of the 2 and I ended up landing a job before business school so I could deprioritize the professional element of the MBA experience. So now I want to give you some rapid fire tips. Understand admiration versus aspiration. This is an unreal experience where all of your classmates are going to be unicorns and geniuses in their own rights. Someone's going to have the next big idea to make the next big buck or to change the world. And that's okay. It helps me to understand that I can admire my classmates without aspiring to be like them. You're special too. Remember that. Invest in your professors. Your professors will have decades of experience in their respective fields, so leverage their mind and their networks outside of the class. Go to their lunches, read their articles, consume their content, be a good student, build a relationship. The faculty in business school and at Wharton specifically is known for investing into their students' projects and also making connections for students outside of the classroom. Next, take care of yourself by any means necessary. Until you start making the big bucks, you will never have this much free time to take care of yourself and to keep your main thing your main thing. So take advantage of it, don't blow it all on trips. And finally, act your wage, but don't let the scarcity mindset rob you of an opportunity to enjoy business school. One common denominator from the dozens of alumni I've talked to is they regret not spending enough money here to enjoy their experience. Don't let that be you. Act your wage, but don't be afraid to borrow a little bit and understand that the money that you will make after this experience, you won't think about what you spent during business school. Now, I've mentioned in this video that I am getting my MBA at Wharton, but it was not easy to get here, especially without a top test score. However, there are some things that you can do to give yourself the upper edge if you do not have a top test score or you didn't have a high GPA in undergrad for whatever reason. And in this video here, I go into detail and I expose my application and show you how I got into Wharton with underdog statistics. Check it out.